There are 5 powerful ways to stop the brain from saying no.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
And I'm going to teach you exactly how to do it with your prospects and any audience you're trying to reach. I'm Dr. Dan. I'm the neuro story guy, which means I'm passionate about the brain, but more passionate and committed to helping you take your message to the people who need to hear it and make them do exactly what you want them to do. So I'm excited for this specific topic because I'm going to teach you exactly how to shut the brain off from saying no. So here's what we know through the research and the science is that the part of the brain that makes decisions is this part underneath here. It's the base of your skull. But this area right here that you see that would be the most well-known part of a brain, it's called the cortex. This part of the brain is designed to tell you no. And so if you're trying to sell something to someone, or if you're trying to get somebody to do something or to believe something or to be persuaded, you got to shut that part of the brain down. Now, there's 5 key powerful ways to do it, of which you're going to find out you can use them to your advantage, particularly number 5. You've all experienced this before. In fact, when you grew up, I guarantee you remember your parents had this part of their brain constantly firing off, or which it seemed. Do you remember your best friend? Could be Jeff.
My name is Jeff.
Could be Susie, could be Rebecca. You remember asking your parents, hey, can I go to Jeff's house and spend the night? Or can I go to the late movie with Jeff? Or can I go to the roller rink with Jeff? Everybody's going there. What was your parents' response? Well, if they're like mine, it was no. Can I go to Jeff's house? No. Late movie? No. Roller skating rink? No. Game? No.
Absolutely not.
And so it turns out your prospects are like this as well, because the brain is actually wired to say no if it can think about it rationally and deliberately. So we know, Daniel Kahneman talked about this in one of his books that showed that the part of the brain that makes decisions is this guy right here. But this part, this cortex, will shut down the decisions. You do this as well. You may go by a car dealership and like, I love that car, I want to get it. But then your cortex says, no, you can't afford it. Oh, I love that house in that neighborhood over there, I want to get it. Mortgage payment, no. This cortex kicks in, and obviously it's a good thing. But imagine what it would be like if you held the secret to bypassing that cortex, so every time you communicated, the people who were listening couldn't go to no. That's what I want to help you with. But I gotta explain something before we get there. Every time you communicate, you go down one of 2 pathways in the brain. So your listener, you gotta think, you're communicating, by the way, you remember this, 7% of your communication is your words, 38% is your tone, and 55% is your body language. So the majority of your communication is what?
What's the answer?
Nonverbal. Remember that. So you're communicating. People are listening or receiving and watching your communication. They're taking it all in. And you're going to go down one of 2 pathways, either the skeptical, resistant pathway, or you're going to go down the trust pathway. So you should be asking yourself, how, Dr. Dan, do I go down the trust pathway? I need the formula for the trust pathway. This is what I focus on, right? And I want to show you is the way you bypass the skeptical part of the brain and go directly to the decision-making part of the brain is very fascinating. In fact, research shows there's 5 key ways, as I alluded to, but really what you're doing is you're avoiding the logic centers of the brain. When you can avoid this rational, deliberate, reasonable part of the brain, you can go directly to helping somebody make a decision without the reflex of no. So your objective then is, how can you bypass it? Because you can. And in today's world, with so much information out there, you're dealing with the most cautious, informed, skeptical buyer of all time. That's because of this part of the brain. So knowing these 5 things can help you avoid that no. Here's a special secret. I will be the first to tell you right now that 4 of these I do not recommend, right? I'll say it again. There's 5 ways and they are powerful. 4 of them I do not recommend. And I'll explain to you why. So you're saying, Dr. Dan, what are you talking about? What kind of hotel is this?
This is my hotel.
You will see here in a minute. So research shows these are the 5 ways to temporarily suspend judgment of the brain, or in other words, stop it from saying no. Reason number 1, drugs. If you've ever watched somebody come home from a surgery who's hopped up on medication, or even in the operating room post-op, you can tell there are some magical things that those drugs can do to stop the brain from saying no. Their inhibitions have completely gone away. They will say or do anything. So drugs can do it. Again, I am not condoning the use of drugs. Number 2, alcohol. Need I say more? Go to a bar at midnight, any given weekend night, and you will see a display of how alcohol can lower the inhibitions and stop that brain from saying no. Number 3, sex. Again, don't need to say a lot here. It lowers the brain's guard and gets the brain to really do anything, right? Particularly men. You know what I'm talking about. So that is a built-in wiring of the system. This temptation or possibility of sex actually gets that brain to lower its guard. So clearly those top 3 I'm not recommending. This 4th one I think you'll find is fascinating, and that is nostalgia. So this is cool. From the age 16 to 25, research shows that that will be your favorite music that you ever listen to. And the reason is because you've come into your own as an adult, and during those periods of time that were so formative, you create a taste for music that you will never create in the future. Some people have this new love for music down the road, but most of us, from age 16 to 25, the music we listened to became our favorite music for the rest of our lives. It's why your parents love Beatles or Elvis or, rock and roll. And so what's fascinating is the nostalgia on the brain is very compelling. The perfume that your first girlfriend wore when you were 17, you smell that, it takes you right back there. Nostalgia is actually a key ingredient that lowers the brain's ability to say no. It lowers the guard, increases trust. And so again, that's not one that you can go around and just create, but this brings me to number 5. And number 5 is the answer, is the key, and it is your ability to reach anybody at any time when it comes to persuading. And that is the power of story. A story will bypass the skeptical centers of the brain so that it will lower the brain's guard, it will increase the ability to trust, and it will minimize the amount of no's you get. On this note, I was recently at a live training and somebody asked me, how does a story lower somebody's resistance and build trust so quickly? And my honest answer was, listen, you don't need to know the neurology, just start telling the story the right way, because I taught them how to do it at that event. But if I did get into a little bit of the weeds on that, number 1 is a story grabs attention like nothing else because of the hormones that it triggers. Number 2, when somebody hears a story, their brain is triggered in the exact same places as if they were experiencing the story, which means they actually feel it. So their emotions change, which means their actions and their decisions are going to change. And number 3, it increases a special hormone in the body called oxytocin, which is the trust hormone, which is the bonding hormone, which means they're going to know, like, and trust you and do exactly what you want them to do. Here's the kicker though. There's a good way to tell a story and a great way. If you're going to trigger the hormones that you want to trigger to build that trust and to lower that guard, you got to know the great way to tell the story. I teach all about it in this book. Shameless plug, link below, grab a copy. I'll walk you through exactly how to do it in a way that anybody can, even if you're a beginner. So there you have it. Start using the power of story or resort to sex, drugs, and alcohol. I'm just joking. We should probably cut that out. I'm telling you right now, I do this all day, every day. The power of story will transform your message and your mission and your revenue and your business like never before. If you're not using it, I'm telling you, it's the single greatest thing you can implement to your branding, your marketing, your conversions, and every aspect of your business, and really your life. I'll get into it on another video. That's a wrap. Dr. Dan, I'm out.